Okay, let's begin. It's a summary for Act 3. After I explain Act 3 for you, I will discuss the questions. Act 3, drama, Macbeth, second secondary. Please, here, Macbeth has been crowned as the King of Scotland. The poison of the witches was working on Banquo too. Since their prophecies have come true, in the case of Macbeth, they might be true for him. Also, his heirs may be the future king of Scotland. Here, Macbeth now entered as king, followed by the queen, Lady Macbeth, and a number of lords and attendants. He is to give a feast that night to celebrate the coronation, and Banquo is to be chief guest at it. We knew that Macbeth is Banquo is the close friend to Macbeth. Here Macbeth has been plotting. Do you know the mean has been plotting? Okay, he has been plotting the murder of Banquo. I have told you before that the witches have led Macbeth to a series of murders. وصلوه لعدد كتير من الجرائم. We knew well that Banquo is his close friend. Although Banquo is his close friend, Macbeth tirelessly led him to plot to kill or to murder Banquo. He sent for him murders to kill Banquo, to fulfill his over-ambition. To fulfill what is his over-ambition? The throne, to be the king. He didn't enjoy anything after killing King Duncan. He didn't enjoy the ill-gotten gains. I have explained this before. ما ارتاحش من بعد ما قتل كينج دانكن. عمره ما هيرتاح في ان هو يستمتع بالمكاسب الغير شرعية اللي هي ال-gotten gains. بعد ما خلص قتل دانكن فكر في أقرب ناس اللي هو مين؟ بانكو. Let's begin. I will continue. And thus he gets information which he needs for the purpose. What is his purpose here? To kill his close friend Banquo. Macbeth has already hired two murderers. He instigates them against Banquo and his son. It's dark, and the murderers wait for the return of Banquo and the Fleens, who must go to the palace. By that way, soon Banquo and the Fleens arrive. Banquo is brutally, يعني بوحشية, murdered, قتل. But Fleens escape هرب, so the task is half done. What is the task? To kill Banquo and the Fleens. And the escape of Fleens will continue to torture, يعذب Macbeth. Macbeth is much agitated, حصل له agitation because of Fleens' escape. After killing Banquo, he now afraid of Fleens. Banquo's ghost appear. احنا قلنا في حفلة اتعملت اللي هي البانكويت. ظهر فيها مين؟ الجوست بتاع بانكو. To Macbeth sitting in his seat. كل ما Macbeth يجي يقعد في الكرسي بتاعه يلاقي مين قاعد؟ بانكو. طبعا it's a kind of hallucination because he suffer now. قلنا ان Macbeth he didn't enjoy any kind of peace after killing Duncan. He now suffer from hallucination. وخدنا قبل كده previously we have taken the hallucination when he saw the dagger in the air. Macbeth panics, trapped in front of his guests. He shakes his trembling ارتعش and cries out. Lady Macbeth Act تصرفت with great courage بشجاعة. دي ست جاهزة في أي وقت بتعرف تلم الدنيا. And the presence of mind. She assures أكدت للجست الضيوف إن Macbeth often has such feats. بيجيله النوبات دي and they must not talk to him. المفروض ما يتكلموش معاه. قالت لهم she gave order to the guests not to talk with him because he is exposed to these feats before. متعود على النوبات دي. يعني غطت she tried to cover the situation. حبت تغطي الموضوع. Okay? طيب. She assured the guests that Macbeth often has such feats and they must not talk to him or take note of his disturbed condition of mind. For this will agitate him. She also encouraged Macbeth take heart and the ghost vanish. Okay? الشبح اختفى. مين كان الشبح المفروض؟ Banquo. We know well that Banquo has been killed, but he now appears for Macbeth. And I told you before that's a kind of hallucination. And this is the super superstition element in the play. عنصر الخرافية فين؟ في القصة. Banquo's ghost reappears ظهر له تاني. But now Macbeth's agitation is uncontrollable. مش عارف يتحكم في نفسه من الخوف. Feeling that their secret would be revealed. سرهم هينكشف. Lady Macbeth requested تطلب the guests not to talk to Macbeth. قالوا ما تكلموش مع مين؟ Macbeth but to leave at once ويمشوا without any formality. بدون أي رسميات. Thus she saves the situation. أنقذت الموقف. Macbeth was invited but he didn't go to the banquet. الحفلة العشاء. Macbeth is worried. Macbeth is worried about Macbeth's suspicion. شكه. مين اللي دلوقتي شكك فيه؟ Macbeth شكك في مين؟ في Macbeth. And that he might kill him. Blood will have blood. الدم هيجيب دم. في حاجة اسمها foreshadowing. يعني ايه foreshadowing؟ يعني التلميح. I will not return until an hour or two after nightfall. Nightfall foreshadowed the coming of Banquo's dinner. بتلمح ان في حاجة وحشة هتحصل زي bad omen كده. شؤم. ايه هو supernatural element. Banquo's ghost is seen only by Macbeth and by none else. He is in a state of في حالة extreme agitation and so he has hallucination هلوسة. It's a result of Macbeth's weak mind. Characterization. Macbeth's noble nature was remarkable. Changed. هو أصبح he became a tyrant. بقى طاغية. مفيش بقى noble character خلاص. He plots murder after murder like a common man. بقى كأنه مجرم رسمي. دي تحليل شخصية هنا ماكبث. Macbeth is a great man loved and respected by everyone. Yet he has a tragic flaw نقطة ضعف in his character which is his over ambition and superstition. I have said before superstition دي الإيمان بالخرافات. He is the main character هو البروتاغونست يعني البطل hero and the center of incidents حواليه بتحصل كل الأحداث. That's why the play was called after his name. He is our tragic hero. He was a man of great status. General in the army قائد في اسكتلند. He was courageous شجاع and respected by everyone. We know that Macbeth was a brave and honorable soldier ready to die for his king. Duncan. However على العكس من كده the prophecies of the witches النبوءة had a powerful effect on him. لهم تأثير قوي عليه especially when he discovered that the first had come true and he became أصبح السين of Gordor. He thought more and more out about he became a king and he was easily convinced مقتنع to kill Duncan. However he often seemed weak. دايما ان هو ضعيف. He started to have visions اللي هي رؤية اللي هي التخيلات. He asked lots of questions. He couldn't make a decision. ما قدرش ياخد قرار and never really seemed sure of himself. Later in the play he appeared to be more in control. ظهر متحكم and less reliant on his wife. بقى أقل اعتمادا على زوجته اللي هي ليدي ايه؟ Macbeth. For example, he planned to murder Banquo without even telling his wife. And when he took the decision to kill Banquo, he didn't ask his wife. So it seems that he became a really murdered person. He also ignored تجاهل الvisions الرؤية and made decisions quickly, giving orders rather than asking questions. Here, at times he was full of confidence, but he was also distant and seemed to ignore يتجاهل the death of his wife. When he realized he would die, he didn't yield ما استسلمش and fought to the very end. Macbeth is considered a round character شخصية محورية who changed from being a man with a humane رحمة and merciful character into a complete tyrant طاغية or a monster وحش that could destroy anyone around him. In the end, he was left with no wife, friend or anyone to confide in عشان يثق فيه. دي confide ده الverb بتاع confidence. He was defeated اتهزم and died as a punishment for his foul deaths أعماله الوحشية. His death could be considered as a retribution عقاب means retribution for his victims الضحايا بتوعه. هتكلم على theme over ambitious يعني over اللي هو الطموح العالي قوي وكانت النقطة الضعف بتاعت مين؟ Macbeth. After the first prophecy of the witches came true, Macbeth became Thane of Gordor. He became consumed by the throne and how he would look as a king. Macbeth seized the throne in spite of knowing it was his to claim and did his best to get rid of anyone who might fight against him for the throne, even killing his best friend and fellow soldier Banquo. He killed the king and that act was considered a violation of the divine system. in Shakespeare time, which said that kings and queens were chosen by God. So not only did Macbeth let his over-ambition blind his judgment، يعني over-ambition مش عامة حكمه، and make him ignore يتجاهل الhuman laws القوانين الإنسانية، but he also ignored تجاهل الholy laws اللي هي قوانين القدسية. unfaithful أو disloyal. Macbeth betrayed his king. أول حاجة كان فيه اللي هي sin of deception، الخيانة، خداع. هو خدع الأول مين؟ his kinsman كان قريبه كمان. انتوا عارفين إن King Duncan he is one of his relatives. And guess who had just honored him كرمه by making him Thane of Cawdor. He also betrayed Banquo, his best friend, fellow soldier and comrade, being afraid that someday his son would steal his throne. Theme of superstitious اللي هي الايه الخيالات خرافية. The prophecies of the three witches attracted the attention of Macbeth. The moment اللحظة he heard them, he became a complete believer، بقى مؤمن جدا in their ability في مقدرتهم to foretell the future. إن هو foretell يعني تنبأ بالمستقبل، especially after the fulfillment بعد تحقيق of the first prophecy when he became Thane of Cawdor. Macbeth ignored Banquo's warning، حذره وتجاهل تحذير مين؟ Banquo of believing the words of the witches and that they could lead him to do evil things. Macbeth became more and more dependent on the prophecies of the witches. He killed Banquo, his close friend, and tried to kill his son because he was afraid that his son would take the throne, but he failed to do so. فشل إنه يعمل كده. Macbeth believed in the witches absolutely, that he sought them out to ask for more information to help him secure his position as king. He believed that he wouldn't be defeated until the trees of Birnam Wood. قال لهم محدش يعمل لكم حاجة إلا لما الشجرة بتاعت بيرنام وود وتتحرك لدانسيان هيل. And that man born of woman، مفيش راجل ست ولدته would harm him. This gave him reason to believe that he was entirely safe. هو قال أنا أكيد في أمان. Entirely safe means what؟ أكيد في أمان. These last prophecies made Macbeth confident and that he would win any fight with his enemies. Near the end, Malcolm made a plan, ordering his men to cut branches from the trees of Birnam Wood to hide behind them to surprise Macbeth. Macduff and his army were able to attack the castle, and during the battle Macduff explained to Macbeth that he wasn't born naturally but was taken from his dead mother's body before the proper time. On hearing that, Macbeth realized that his defeat was inevitable and that the prophecies were illusions، هي أوهام، because they had double meaning. Their intents، الهدف بتاعهم was to lead people، يؤدي الناس into doing evil. Just as Banquo had warned، زي ما بانكو حذرهم. He acquired wisdom، اكتسبوا الحكمة، but unfortunately it was too late. كان الوقت إيه خلص. Macbeth met his tragic end during a fight with Macduff. Okay, which is Act 3. I explained for you before trying to explaining the question. This summary, it will facilitate for you. I make the act in simple words to make you able to understand it, because the original edition is written in Old English. So this is modern English, so you can understand everything. And thank you. Then goodbye.